Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye. Bye. Let's get to the intro. This is a good one. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking, and I appreciate the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. So, Merced is off the hook, right? I said it in a video about a week ago, man, when all the murders were happening, and there was so many DMs. Ah, man, that ain't shit. My city gets more. My city gets more. My city gets more. Are you proud of that? Because I'm not, right? I'm definitely never proud of how many murders occur in a city. Like, it's not a big deal. It's not something to boast and brag about. It's life, right? And life is rough. Let's be real. There's some knowledge you can't get in college. Life is rough. If you really live life the way I live it, and it's not gang banging and committing burglaries and robbing people and hurting people. Nah, none of that. Getting up, taking kids to school, paying bills, worrying about if what I'm gonna make to eat and if there's enough to eat, right? That's rough. That's life, right? That's what grown folks are doing nowadays, man. That gang banging, that kicking it with the homies, that was cool when it was cool, and then it was not cool when it wasn't, right? And believe me, my beard, look, this is what happens when you're a grown adult and it's uncool. Your beard gets scraggly than a motherfucker, right? Because you ain't even got the time to trim that up. I'm telling you, Merced is off the hook, though. And because of the increase in murders already in 2026, most of them due to alleged gang violence, the Gang Violence Suppression Gang Unit, also known as the Task Force, are on a mission, man. And this is exactly what I said in my first video was going to happen. They are not going to allow the streets of Merced or the Central Valley, anywhere within that 209 area, to become a war zone. You know, typically growing up in Merced, I understood that anytime shit cracks off, it had to crack off in spurts, like I said in my last video. Because what happens is the gang task force starts cracking down. They start recruiting new members, just like gang members recruit every day. So does the Merced Police Department. So does the gang task. They start recruiting officers. They start putting together these joint task force, and they start trying to cut the heads off of the chicken. That's for reals, right? In the past week, they have made over 41 arrests, most of them known or active gang members. They have apprehended all these guys. They have found 23 firearms. They found several pounds of marijuana and other narcotics, right? So at the end of the day, I know someone's going to say, marijuana is not a narcotic. All right, Mr. fucking too smart for the radio, right? Too hard for the radio. At the end of the day, this is what's going to continue to happen. The more that you draw attention and bring negative attention to yourself by committing murders and felonious activities, the more the task is going to crack down. Now, is this typical? Absolutely. This is what happens, and this is only the beginning. Because best believe they're working on some type of RICO behind the scenes. And once the feds get involved and the ATF and other alphabet boys get involved, man, you might as well just shut down shop. It's a wrap. And if you think all eyes aren't on a city that is having gang-related murder after gang-related murder, then you got your fools mixed up like a Brent Woods song. It's definitely going down, right? With all these arrests being made, there are so many families affected, you know, but you have to come to a common understanding that if you have a family member that's out there committing crime, eventually he's going to get locked up. That goes with the game. That's part of the game. His preparation for incarceration, that's on him. You could tell him, you could tell her, you could voice your opinion, but look, they're probably not going to listen. Let me explain to you. There wasn't a person on earth, God himself, no disrespect, but God himself could have told me something back in the 90s and I wouldn't have listened. My mind was made up. I was firm in my belief that the gang the homies, the group that I was affiliated with was going to bring me way more prosperity and way more love than anyone else. When in fact, I was totally misguided, and they didn't misguide me. They didn't feed me no bullshit. They didn't shoot me no propaganda. I see a lot of these ex-gang members, oh, it's all propaganda. It's all bullshit. They didn't tell me shit. I made my own conscious choice to believe what I wanted to believe. I made my own shit up in my head of how it was going to be. But if now thinking back on it as I'm older, and only because I have reflection, right? It's not because I'm older and I'm smarter and I'm wiser and I've had years in the game. It has nothing to do with that. It's more so now because I have a little bit of time to sit back and reflect. And it's like, how stupid was I believing that I was gonna that the car on the rims and the women and the tattoos and the being in prison and the notoriety was gonna get me somewhere. It wasn't gonna get me a good job. It wasn't gonna buy me a house, right? It was gonna have me doing what I was doing at that exact point in time, living on the homegirls' couches, couch surfing. Man, cowabunga! I was a Ninja Turtle. I was couch surfing for reals. We all were. There was a situation where I remember one homeboy. He's an older cat, a few years older than me. Kind of looked up to him. I look up to him even more so now. I remember what happened was he was in the mix, just like I was in the mix. You know, we're ducking and dodging the task force. So I know about all that. You know, still trying to have that reputation amongst the homies. But best believe, if you have a reputation amongst your gang and your homies, that reputation travels, especially in a small town, small city like Merced, right? So not only is everyone that you want to hear about what you did hearing it, but so are the cops, the task. They're hearing it too, right? And they got a different perspective of what to do with you, where the homies might cheer you on. That's right, homie. That's right. You did a whole bunch. Most of the time when you're gangbanging, it's all for a bunch of that's rights, right? No hatred on the people that are out there doing it. I respect it. Do your thing. But I'm just saying. Anyways, the task force, that's not right. That's wrong. And they're going to hold you accountable for that. So be ready to be locked up because that's part of the game. Anyways, this particular homeboy was in the mix just like I was, even to a little bit of a higher degree, right? And I looked up to him. He had the nice whips, the beautiful fucking old lady, probably the prettiest chick I ever seen. He had everything that I thought I wanted and needed. Not that I wanted. I still want that, right? But everything that I needed in life that I didn't need, but I thought I did, right? To become this alpha gang member, right? This motherfucking, to be him. I wanted to be him, right? I would try to model and pattern my lifestyle after him. But anytime he did something that was good or right, I thought it was fakery. I thought it was bullshit. You know, of course, everything bad he did, if he sold drugs, I wanted to sell drugs. If he went out there and assaulted someone, I was right behind him or beside him doing it, or in front of him, kicking him, doing the hit. If he was out there carrying a gun, that was me, right? If he was carrying a knife, I had one too, like everything bad. But when he was out there, like taking clothes to homeless people or hooking people up with Fetty, I thought, hold up, bro. Let's get it. I didn't stand out there in the cold all night selling 16ths, man, to give it back to him. No way, Jose, right? Literally, that was his name too. So at the end of the day, right, everything bad, I was for. Everything good, I was not. And what happened with this dude was I started to model what I was doing anytime he did bad after him. And I started to achieve within the game what I felt were higher heights, right? I started to be recognized a little bit more. I started to be known for an arrogant attitude, which I liked because I believe every gang member has a little bit of arrogance in them. Everyone, right? You have to. That's part of the game. And all these different things. But then this guy turned around and he pulled the whamboozle on us, right? He put a whammy. He went to college. He decided behind the scenes, man, he was going to go to the university. He worked hard. He saved his money. He put himself through school. He went to community college, city college. Then he worked his way up to a University of Arizona, and he was gone, right? And when he came back, he had a brand new, nice car. He had a good job. It took years for him to come back. And it was then there that I realized what I was doing was bull cockery, right? I was doing some bullshittery. This man changed. And even then, seeing everything that he had that I thought I was going to get from the gang that I wasn't getting because I was living around the rats, the roaches, the shiesty approaches, I seen him having it because he went to school and he did the right thing. And still I was like, sell out, piece of shit, no good, turned his back on the homies, disappeared on us, right? That was my mentality. And guess what I got? He got the fine wife, the nice house, the good car, the great family, the white picket fence. Guess what I got? I got DVI Tracy water. Straight up Tracy water, smelling my fucking Sully's farts and living in K-Wing. That's what I got, right? Because I made choices. See, these guys out there in the city of Merced are making choices right now. They're making the wrong choices. But who are we to tell them or to give them game that they're not going to soak up? Ain't no super soak guys over there. Ain't no sponges. I grew up in the city of Merced, man. It's a very dangerous situation. You know, there's poverty on the west side. There's poverty on the north side. There's people that grew up with a certain mentality and they think that they have to be a homie. They have to be a part of that gang lifestyle. Now, what I am seeing lately, just little things, right, that are blowing my mind, and I just can't believe it, was back in our days, you know, back in the late 80s, early 90s, that's when the Norteño movement was getting established in the city of Merced. Okay, there was Asian gangs, MOD, OT, you know, Oriental Troops, True Blue, all these different gangs, or Olokes, and some TRG slid through, and some Asian boys, and all these cats, HBO, just the different gangs. Those that are from Merced understand what I'm talking about. Black Tigers, and then they were established, but they were just beefing amongst each other. We never had really problems with the Asians, right? Some True Blues, but that was about it. Then you had Norteños that were coming into their own, right? Ames Street and Dead End and NFL and all these different gangs, Lofbro, RBO. You had all these different groups that were coming into their own, the establishment, right? And then, of course, you had the brothers. You had Merced Gangster Crips, and you had McNamara Lynch Mob. That's old school. A lot of dudes in Merced don't even remember that. You had Meadows Mob. They don't remember that shit either, right? You had Northside Pyrus. These were the different things, but there was never really no Southsiders. Like, there would be a few of them. They try to start up a gang, Homeboys for Life, and then they try to start up a gang, PPLs, and they stood around for a little while, but it wasn't really no big movement. But shit doesn't change, because when I looked up this case right here, this gang suppression unit snatching up all these guys and locking people up in this last week, right? There was a whole bunch of firearms that they were showing that they seized, and real big, some of the heavy artillery. There was blue rags and blue bandanas and all kinds of shit, symbolizing the Southsiders, right? They are getting thicker in the city of Merced. They're starting to move in. That's because a lot of the dudes that were really with the business and the program and doing all that got locked up. See, that's what's going to happen. You get locked up because you're out there banging and you're out there representing your town that you love so much. And then when you're out the way, other gangs come in and they take over. And the next thing you know, it's a flip. That same town that you represent, the same homies that you fuck with, man, ain't going to be there when you get out. They're gone, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say it's an overnight thing, but I'm starting to notice the influx of Southsiders in the Central Valley, especially in the city of Merced or the surrounding areas, which is crazy to me because it was never like that. But time changes everything, right? And let's just keep it real, man. The Southerners have been moving in slowly but surely for decades into Northern California. And, you know, people try to deny it. Nah, not in my town. They're hiding. It's at nighttime. It's this, it's that. Well, it's not anymore. Not anymore, right? And you know what that's going to lead to? More gang violence, more drama, more hurt feelings, more mothers wearing black, just more of drama and nonsense. Whereas in the good isn't quite understood because nobody wants to understand it. You know, this gang suppression unit is not playing. Okay, I remember back in the days, the gang task force, they were different in Merced. We knew who they were. There was an officer, his name was Delamain. He was the gang officer. He kind of ran the whole gang unit, right? Coolest motherfucker on the block. Hey, a straight shooter. You already knew that if he was coming for you, he was going to get you, but he wasn't going to be extra aggressive and slam you and beat you and all that. He soaked up the gang mentality and understood about respect. And, you know, I remember him arresting me on several occasions and was kind of like, Delamain, you got me, you got me. You know, there was no bullshitting him. He knew where you were from. He knew exactly what you were about. He knew your parents. He studied everything about the gang members that he was after. He was basically them. And I remember back in the days, we used to have gang cards. You had to show your gang card. They had task force Tuesdays and Thursdays where they'd come do sweeps. It's just how it's always been in Merced. So it's nothing new to the people that have lived out there to see the task force rolling around popping people. But when murder after murder is being committed, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, there's only 5 killings. You act like fucking it's the end of the world. To a smaller town like that, that's a lot. You know, when it's localized and it's small and you're seeing several gang-related shootings within a week or two or within a month, you know, what do you think's going to happen? There's people that are concerned. They're concerned for the safety of their community and for their children and all that. So that means the task force, and they've always been like that in Merced, they're going to bump up. They are recruiting. Just in the last week, they have snatched all kinds of people up, and that's just what it is. And I seen it coming, and I said it in my video. I said, watch out. Don't be surprised if a RICO happens very soon. Now, if you notice, in the state of California, you have a lot of different sections where there's always a lot of these RICOs happening, right? And then there's a lot of sections that seem super highly gang related, but they only have like an operation here and there once every blue moon. Think about Merced, man. Consistently every couple of years, man, there's some type of operation in Merced County. You know what I'm saying? Operation Valley Star, Operation Scrapbook, Operation Red Rooster, Operation Red Right Hand, and now this shit. It's always something in the city of Merced. There's a reason for that. The 209 ain't no fucking joke. See, the Central Valley has always been a little bit different from, say, the Bay. I'm not saying they're harder or anything. I'm just saying the tasks seem to be on them right there. It's a little bit different. You know, anyone who's ever been incarcerated with a Norteño or a Southsider from the Central Valley in comparison to the Bay Area will tell you there's a whole different swag, a different style, right? I remember this brother talking to him. I've been out of prison for years, man. And he hit me up. Wait, where you from? Oh, I'm from Merced, right? He was like, oh, shit. You from the Valley? Yeah. He said, man, y'all motherfuckers is different, bro. We used to always think y'all motherfuckers were Sureños. I said, why? He said, because y'all motherfuckers be wearing Ben Davises, bald heads, crazy shit. And in the Bay, where he was from, he goes, Northerners move different. They act different. They're just, and I said, that's just a product of the environment. That's, I never really seen the difference until I got to the youth authority. I did see a little bit of a difference with swag, but that comes from every city. Every town has their own little words that they say, their own little wordplay, their own little everything, right? So I seen that. But as far as the Central Valley, yeah, I could see where he was coming from. It's always been a little bit different. It's always been a little bit more choloed out, I guess you could say. And that is due to, I believe, just environment, the geography of where you grew up, who you grew up around. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the brothers, man, same way, choloed out. You know what I'm saying? Asians choloed out. It's just it's the environment, because there's just a big congestion and a big community of raza. Everyone's raza influence. Because the yak life got them like this, right? It's just how it is. Anyways, I wanted to give you guys the update on what's going on in Merced. You know, the gang task force is really out there clamping down. Like I said, 41 people arrested, several of them gang members and associates of gang members. And they're trying to kill the gang violence in Merced. Is it a good thing? Well, it's always a good thing, man, when there's less tragedy and less violence. But for those that are actively moving around out there, man, you have to watch out what you're doing, because you shed a bad light on your peoples. Not a bad light, but a light that says, hey, we're over here. We're over here. Think. We're over here. And you got to think before you do that. Because I've been in plenty of situations inside and outside of prison where you're putting in that work. You're that one, right? And for a while, you're him. For a while, everyone's like, yeah. And then you start to become a burden. You start to become a homeboy that no one wants to be around. That's my next video. I'm going to be doing a video later on elaborating on this right here and tell you how I became that burden. I'm going to explain to you in several situations how my own homeboys didn't want me around no more. And it wasn't just pushing me away, you got to go, because I was an active gang member. I was still in good standings. They wanted me gone in a real way, right? It was an overnight celebrity thing like Kanye West. I don't know how it happened. I went from being the homeboy everybody wanted to be around to being the homeboy that nobody wanted to be around. And why? I understand now why. At that time, I was shocked, right? But I understand now. So anyways, man, the city of Merced is off the hook. They're adding more gang task force. There's an article in the Merced Sun Star. They are adding more and more to the task force. They're going to continue these crackdowns. Hey, when you draw negative attention, you get a whole bunch of negative results. With that being said, and believe me, Merced's just the tip of the iceberg. Stockton's going to be like that. All these cities in the Central Valley, as well as the Bay and Southern California, they've been doing this, right? It's just what it is. Anyway, so you better keep your head on swivel out there if you're out there wiggling, because it's only a matter of time before you're in that two-man cell telling your cellie, God damn, homie, let me get a courtesy flush. I promise. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. Again, I'm giving you game, not giving up game. You know, everything I say is public record, and that's facts, man. I will be hitting you guys later on this afternoon with the stories and let you guys know exactly what it is with me. That's a great topic. It literally is, right? This video is sponsored by Vario Liquors in the Central Valley, Turlock, California. If you're ever in the area, Go tap into the 209 and go get you something cold to drink from the barrio, as well as Sticks and Stones Yard Service out there in Big Bad, Arizona, man, where the raza is really doing their thing. Go tap in with the homeboy, Google them, go support them. Local businesses always need to be supported by local people. It just is what it is. This is the gun. Bang, bang. Merced's on fire.